Hello everyone and welcome back to the Belgian Beer Brothers channel. Cedric here in Antwerp with another brew review. Today we are tasting another Spanish beer, and as often is the case with Spanish beers, this one is based on a German classic. Now we know that German beers traveled to Spain in the early 20th century. We'll be talking about the Mahou Maestra Dunkel, and as the name implies, this beer is based on the 19th century Munich Dunkel, which was a dark lager, meaning it was a dark beer of low fermentation, something that we here in Belgium didn't really know back then, or now for that matter. For the Maestra Dunkel, Mahou used a recipe from 1890 and stayed true to it, using solely European hops, Munich malt, color malt and Pilsen malt. Instead of the infusion process that almost every brewery in the world uses these days, Mahou held on to the triple concoction method as used in the Czech Republic, for example, to brew their world-renowned lagers. So I'm very curious about this. All this should result in a 6.1% ABV dark lager with 25 IBUs, and I expect a roasty, dry, silky, smooth, maybe sweet lager, like the Spaniards love so much. So let's just see if my expectations are met. Now, of course, these expectations are solely based on theoretics, because I haven't tasted this yet. Now, first off, let's go over the bottle, because I often skip the packaging and the label in the bottle, but oftentimes I think that it is worth mentioning. For example, here we have a very classic layout. We have the breast or the belly label and the top label, both dark brown with gold and black and white accents, so very classic, very rustic. Some might call it heavy, which actually it is, but nonetheless I like it. It is still soothing and simple. I already told you guys what is on the label here. I also love the typical branded bottle cap. Do we have anything on the back? No, not really. So let's dive right in. Lovely branded bottle cap, which will become a beautiful fridge magnet someday when it grows up. Okay. It is a bit darker than I expected, but nonetheless a beautiful color. I don't have my light with me here, but believe me when I say it has a beautiful brown, deep dark red color. Lovely dark beige, or I should actually call this a light brown foam. Has nothing to do with white anymore, and I love that. Quite dense foam. We have some large bubbles, but mainly small ones, quite dense, quite a lot of foam. I like that. And a beautiful transition. So up until now, absolutely beautiful, absolutely nice. Okay, so they used Munich malt, color malt and Pilsen malt, but I suspect that color malt was roasted a bit more. Well, of course, color malts could be a very wide thing. It could be like a Cara 160, it could be a 200, it could be a roasted malts. But I suspect part of it was roasted malt, because on one side the Spaniards love their roasted beers, their roasted malts, their tostadas. But on the other side, I basically smell some roastiness and even a bit of smokiness, which I didn't expect. Yeah, it smells a bit peated actually, so yeah, quite nice. Now, that head of foam already dissipated, but we still have that nice half centimeter as it should be. So kudos to Mahou. Okay, nice and aromatic. One thing that really stands out is that there is actually no sweetness in there. And I like that. I hope that when I taste this, that it's also very dry. But let's find out. Cheers. Okay. Relatively thin. It is thinner than expected. Now, of course, I wasn't expecting chocolate sauce, but this is a nice density. It is rather thin. I would even say a tiny hint watery, but again, as oftentimes, not in a bad way. But when it comes to taste, I do get a lot of roasty aromas. I do get a lot of coffee, a bit of burnt aroma even, but not in that level that it's a bad thing or that it's a turn off. A tiny hint of chocolate maybe. Yeah. And a teeny beeny bit of smoke in there, or peat in there. Now, not as much as we had in the scent, in the fragrance, but nonetheless, it is present, which is, well, rather nice. I think this is pretty balanced as well, and as you guys know, I am always looking for balance in my beer. So yeah, I like this. Also doesn't taste like a 6%. Now 6% isn't that high at all, but this tastes fresher and thinner. So I would rather place this below 5%, maybe those 4.5 session beers, but it really is a 6.1%. So it is quite a drinkable beer as well. Despite not being sweet at all, I do see some very slow dripping from the side. So that usually means that there is quite a bit of residual sugar in there. And if that is the case, they hide it very well with those roasty flavors. So again, kudos for Mahou. This is a very well balanced, well brewed beer. Also, the aftertaste is a bit of, I would even say, a bit stout-like or a dry porter, because we do get some hints of coffee and a tiny hint of chocolate, a bit of bitterness, but also a bit of maltiness, which is quite rare and I must say quite pleasant as well. So Mahou, very, very well done. That means that the verdict should be rather positive. Now, this is not my favorite style of beer. This is somewhere between a stout or a porter and a cerveza tostada. I like all that. It's not my favorite, but I am inclined to give this a 3.5, which is for me very average, but nonetheless a very good representation of this beer. Yeah, taking all things into account, now I must say that this beer is more than interesting enough. If you are ever in Spain, Mahou is very widespread. If you get the chance and you can get your hands on one of these, please do so, please try it. It's not expensive at all and it is very interesting. So have a taste, let me know what you think. And until then, I'd say see you guys in the next video, which should be next Saturday, because I gave up on trying to publish on Friday. So now we will be publishing on Saturday and Sunday at 8 p.m. So I will be your weekend companion. Apart from that, as usual, thank you guys so much for watching, for sticking with me. If you guys like this video, hit the thumbs up, leave a comment down below. If you want to see more, subscribe and hit the bell icon and you'll get notified whenever I upload something. And yeah, I'd say until next week, cheers.